Hi there, it's Beth, and this is YouTube Pagan Challenge. Question, don't remember the number. What does this time of year mean for you? To you? We're fast approaching Imbolc or Breed, Feast of the Waxing Light, and I decided instead of just telling you how boring I am, I'd show you something that I would do for this holiday, just because for me, it tends to be a lot about creativity. It's a fire holiday, which also really falls into creativity and that kind of shiz. So, I'm gonna pull out the art journal. This is a brand new one I just made. Optic binding. First time doing it, and I did okay. There's was a little page. A little confusing at first, but I persevered and made it through. Let's start here. I'm really just basing this. Let's see here. That helps a little. Basing this on play and playing, not anything structured, nothing. You must do this, you must do that. I picked out some of the colors I've been grooving on lately. Doesn't matter if they match. Things like gold, a crimson-y color, purple, teal, fluorescent pink, green, gold, and then a couple ink sprays and grab tombos and all sorts of stuff to just have at hand. If I want, well, I want this to have, okay, just going to, one of the ways I often start with pencil things is just with writing down intentions, things I want to bring in my life. The word of the year is heal, and the beautiful thing about this is you don't have to have good handwriting. You just write it. You really actually want to scribble more than you do a legible handwriting. Passion, pretty compassion. Because really you're just creating the first layer of what you're doing. Brain cramp. Abundance. Prosperity. Joy. Healing. Money. And sometimes too, I'll just scribble. Scribbles are good. Scribbles are fun, because this is the creative aspect of play. And part of my spirituality is using this creative aspect a lot. And more and more it's become something that I do a lot. This is a little stencil I made the other day. Got bored. But right now, just getting underlying things done. It's all about layering for me. I like the idea of creating layer upon layer of stuff. And I tend towards things that are water soluble, such as these acrylics. These are the Dylusions ink sprays, which these are not permanent. If you do buy them, they're freaking awesome, but they move. So don't get pissed off if you buy some and it's all over your stuff, because that's what they do. Let's see what we have here. What do I feel like? And this is just, what do I feel like doing? How do I want this to happen? And I'm not even really thinking how. It's just, what do I feel? Well, it sounds fun. Here's There's some collage. Do some collage. I do a lot of collage, so I buy the acrylic mediums in really big sizes these days, just because it's easier. This. I also started making some of my own. Actually, I started making a lot of my own collage elements, as opposed to just kind of finding ephemera and things like that to use. They create a whole different form that I really have been liking. I want this one, I think. And I'm not even really looking at composition. I'm just looking at what am I enjoying about this? And that's where that whole aspect of play and breed comes in. Get something down here. And you may notice that part of the other level has started to disappear, and that is perfectly okay. Alrighty. What do we want to do next? I'm feeling scribbly today. I feel scribbly. Go in pinks. Orange. I've gotten into orange lately. Orange and go for pink. Oh, that's not the pink I wanted. Yeah, that's more of a melony. This color. And we're just gonna scribble. And there is no rhyme or reason. I'm not thinking, oh, this is in my rule of thirds, I should put it here. I'm just going for it. I feel like scribbling, I'm scribbling. I feel like activating the Tombow markers a little. So I'm activating. It's just about the process. It's the journey, not the destination with this kind of stuff. Sometimes I'll just let things dry. Sometimes I'll blot. And today we're in a blotting room. Scribbles, scribbles. What next? This is still kind of wet. What do I want to do? I'm going to go in. I want to use this. I've got this brilliant new stencil. I never clean my stencils. If you're wondering why it's so dirty, I think my lid broke off. It's a really old tube of paint, but I was still very sad because it was pretty much full at the time. This is kind of a new color combination for me. Using red and bringing in gold with it. I just really love this combination of what it creates. And I'm not being very precious with this. I'm just going. And kind of mushing the two together. Come over here. And that just gives you this whole another layer. Okay. This is on here. I'm just gonna do a quick dry. I'm probably not gonna keep this part in because it's really boring. Okay, I think we're dry enough. And a lot of times I just walk away from the page at this point, but in the process of trying to just film, a lot of times I end up using the hair dryer. Stop that. I want. And once again, it's not thinking about composition. You're not thinking about anything. This is play. And play is something I consider really sacred, especially with art. It's a way to tap into stuff that really, that one's really pink. I don't want that. Tap into things that you may not normally tap into. There's some stuff that comes out when you do this kind of work. And you can see that the Bubblegum Pink Dilutions ink spray is activating with this blue and making it a little more purpley. That's fine. I actually kind of liking the color. This crimson red with a purple makes such a pretty color. I've been kind of grooving on that. I've been moving away from my blue, oranges, and kind of weird, I used it right here, you know, this weird kind of green, yellowy green. Had a very 70s palette for quite a while, and I'm kind of moving into this red gold, weird kind of pink. Neons have been very much something I've been using. And one thing during these things, I like to use my paper as my palette. It creates just different marks on it, which I like. And you know, if you're mixing something, it can be kind of a cool way to bring in something. Over here. And a lot of this right now is kind of just what I consider the base, what's gonna be under whatever ends up on top of this. Or it could end up just ending at some point and being the whole painting. I don't know. That's the beauty of this. It's play. It's like when you were a kid and you painted. You didn't think, oh, I got to follow the rule of thirds. Does this color go with this? You just paint. And that's what we're doing. And sometimes your collage or an element will completely disappear, and other times it won't. And even a lot of times if it appears to disappear, it's still peeking through. It just is not very apparent. More. One thing I think is interesting, I have this like pale gray Caran d'Ache can. I was like, why do they even make this color? It's so boring. You can barely see it. And the funny thing is, I was laughing the other day because that boring pale gray has become a thing I've been using quite a bit to like mute this kind of juicy stuff down. Green over here. So at this point, I think what's going to happen is that I'm just going to shut up and stop talking about what I'm doing and just do and let it happen. And And this is something I use a lot within my artistic process and my spiritual process to just kind of process stuff. And you can bring out some interesting weirdness when you start playing around with spirituality and art. Let's see. Here. It's the wrong way. I need to go out. Okay. And just using it to process things, and shit comes out that you don't even know. And you have pictorial with that kind of aspect of play. And I'll often combine, for Whimsy Girls, combine the aspect of play and spirituality. Stuff like this, bringing, taking pain of the past and bringing it into a spiritual empowerment, as opposed to, you know, keeping that memory of pain in the past. Yeah, don't do duct tape bindings, people. They suck. This thing's kind of held together by duct tape and washi. There's the other one I'm looking for. There's Swift Fox. I saw a lot of foxes this summer, which are very rare. Swift foxes especially, so something to commemorate. This is something I did just last night. And this kind of weird geometric stuff started coming, and this is all pretty much unplanned. I liked that picture with the nose cut out and the sunglasses. Can I see her? I have to. Nope. There she is. I see her head right there. And then a few, you can't see. The image transfers are showing up. It's very dark. But I keep wanting to zoom in and out. So, you know, very much a process of using art and spirituality for empowerment to bring in new ways of being. And, you know, with Imbolc and breeding, fire and creativity, the return of the sun, those things are all very creative and all very fiery for me, which ends up, you know, with, for me, being creative. And especially bringing something in, like the creative aspect of play, which is very freeing. And you don't think of yourself like, I can't paint if you want to try this, or I don't have anything. When I started back at painting, I had some old paints from the 90s and some watercolors also from the 90s. Crayola pencils, the colored pencils. What else did I have? I didn't have much. Sharpies. You can do this with just about anything. One thing to be aware, if you're buying art supplies at the grocery store, the Crayola ones will fade like crazy. Kelly Ellington over at Art Food Kitty did a test. She's a watercolorist. And the Crayolas were not good. They faded like really, really fast. And granted, she was doing something you shouldn't do to any watercolor, which is put them in sunlight, but she only did it for like an hour or so. And they were bad. They faded extremely fast. But, you know, don't think that you gotta have all this crazy ass paint stuff. I spend pretty much all my extra money right now on art supplies. So, you know, what you have around the house. Sharpies are really awesome. I love me a Sharpie. Things like that can bring into that. Doodling and Zentangles too can really bring out that aspect of play and not planning it out. So that's pretty much what I would do for Imbolc. And instead of telling you how boring I am, because I'm not going to really do anything, this is what I would do if I do something. Okay, bye for now. I hope you enjoyed this. Probably not what you were expecting, but that's what you're getting. Love you guys. Have a wonderful week, and one of these days I'm going to catch up on the YouTube Pagan Challenges. I'm so behind on everyone's videos. Bye!